Today we are going to discuss on the mindset of a human being and the role of mindset in our everyday decision making. So mindset is very important because it totally changes the perspective and the way you see things and how you keep going, as Ranjani said. So today we have somebody who is a mindset coach, and he is going to give us a very brief description on how habits are formed, why habits are so important. Because see, we can all chill and watch Netflix, but when that becomes a habit, it takes a toll on your success. Of course, if you're well divided, you know how to plan your work, you know how to take your leisure breaks, then it's not a problem. But then if you don't know how to manage your time, it is a very big issue. So we have George, and George is going to join us. He'll give his own introduction to you all. So let's see what mindset is all about today. Hi, George.
Yo, what's going on, people?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to know everything about mindset and habits and the positive thinking and everything, because in a situation today where we all are sitting at home and we are all mentally restricted now, and we have to stay confined, so it does take a toll on our mentality and how we think, and our suffocation is within homes. So I thought this discussion with you today is very important. So George, please introduce yourself to my audience. Yeah.
100%. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for having me here. Obviously, I'm from England, London, UK, so I'm blessed to be speaking to people all around the world right now. So anyone that's joined us, thank you very, very much. I can see we've got 8 people at the moment. I'm looking to add huge value. A little bit about myself. My mum and dad, I come from a mixed race background. My dad is Egyptian, my mum's Greek Cypriot. We started off living in London. We moved down just outside of London to a place called Surrey. I've been sort of like brought up in a middle class background, so I'm always used to the working environment. And from a very young age, I've been obsessed with sort of being able to get more from life than being able to maybe work for someone, not just financially, but for freedom as well. Just being able to live life on my terms, and things like that. And about 5 years ago, I was in a pretty dark place. I was suffering with mental health. I was suffering with addictions. And about 5 to 6 years ago, I started a personal development journey where I just grew leaps and bounds throughout the years. And now I've decided to bring that to an online platform. I coach people that are going through mental health, that are going through addictions. And now I'm here spreading the word right now, ready to get lock and loaded and to start adding value. That's my story. I've got a podcast as well talking about the stuff that we're talking about today. So yeah, blessed to be here.
Yeah. Awesome, George. I'm really glad to know that you have overcome all your addictions, and you are leading a very positive life now, which is very hard actually, because getting rid of something that you really like and it's not good for you, and you have the audacity to make yourself think that you can have a better life.
We deserve
I
it.
think yes, we deserve it.
We all deserve it. Like, we all deserve to live our best life. We all deserve to achieve all of our dreams. That we're only here one time, and I think it's so important to make the most out of the time we're here, because believe you me, we affect so many people in this earth. It's not just about us. So I'm a massive believer in making sure that we live into our fullest potential and just to live in our best selves. And that's what I'm hoping to get across today to anyone listening.
Perfectly said. So George, I want to know, what do you think positive thinking is? Is it just thinking that everything will go well?
No. First of all, I think that is a great question, by the way. And I think a lot of people think positive thinking is about just making sure that anything that happens in life, you just got to turn it into positive. And there is some truth to that, don't get me wrong, but it's not just about sort of thinking positive all the time, because we naturally as people, we're going to get negative emotions, we're going to have negative stuff happen in our life, but it's about not letting that dictate your life there on after that. So certain things that we can do is just don't focus on certain things too much. If it's upsetting you, if it's making you feel bad, then we can switch our focus to something that's going to be more positive, thinking, okay, I'm in this position and it's not very good. However, from this position, I can turn it around and I can be in an even better position if I manage to turn it around. And it's just really about that fight. It's about that comeback. As I said earlier, my life has been I've always been a bit of an underdog. So turning around and being able to turn your life around is massive. And I think that's the positive. And when you're in these bad positions, turn it around, you can just look at the bright side, look at a better place. And that's where positive thinking really comes in. It's not about ignoring the shit and the wrong stuff going on in your life. It's just about saying, you know what, this is rubbish right now, but it's nothing that I can't take control of and make a better situation out of.
Yeah. So it's about thinking the positive or good side of something while you're in a bad situation.
Yeah, there's always, listen, there's some crazy stuff going on in this world. Crazy stuff going on in this world. And we can't let it penetrate us. We've got to adapt our minds to it doesn't even have to be good. It just doesn't have to be locked into the bad all the time. For me, I always say it's hard to go from sad to happy, but it's easy to go from sad to grateful. Like there's always someone that might be in a sort of a worse situation than you. So if you manage to just be like, you know what, it's not bad, but there's other people suffering around the world, and I'm just thankful for God or thankful for the universe or whatever your religion or beliefs are, that, you know what, I've got a roof over my head, I've got food on the table. So that's what I'd say about that.
Yeah, definitely. Being grateful is the most important thing. Be it your ups or downs, being grateful, I think, solves everything. You know, even while you feel the pitiest, when you pity yourself so much, but when you're grateful about the things that you've got in life, I think that will make you happier even if you're really, really sad.
We've always got something to be grateful for as well. I don't believe anyone on this earth, whatever they're going through, we've always got something to be grateful for, and it's about locking in. And the only reason why people won't have anything grateful around them is because they're not focusing on the things to be grateful for. And that's why I always say, look for something to be grateful for. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't matter about the size of it. Just get your mind locked into looking at the goods of life, looking at and focusing on the things that you can be grateful for, and taking that. And I guarantee it, you will bring more of that into your life the more that you look at it. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So George, tell me, why is mindset so important?
Mindset is crucial because whether we like it or not, we are living a life of our minds. Our outside world is ultimately because of what goes on inside our mind. I think I heard you say earlier, just before I joined, you were talking about perception. And you were talking about sort of like how we can just sit there and watch Netflix and stuff like that. And we know, so that's okay, by the way, to do that now and then. I want to say that I watch Netflix now and then as well, and there's nothing wrong with that. But mindset is crucial because it gives us courage. Courage is essential because we need courage in our life to be able to overcome certain situations. Because what we said earlier, there's going to be negative stuff going on in our lives. There's going to be some shit going on that's going to make us be like, oh, do you know what? I don't know if I can keep going. And your mindset is going to help you overcome these situations. It's going to help you be able to fight off that survival impulsive mindset that we all have in us. Like, we're born to survive, but we're not always born to live. So it's about the courage and the mindset behind what you're doing to overcome these little, let's say hurdles. I don't want to say failures, these little hurdles that keep us moving. So that's why mindset is crucial. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing one or two things right at the right time and repeating that process to get closer where you're trying to be.
So mindset is something that helps you grow always.
Oh, of course. Our minds are growing minds. Like, our minds are growing minds no matter what. We don't really have an option in that. Our minds are growing. They're not made to just be fixed. That's not how we're made. Our minds are always growing. I read something not so long ago that we never wake up and go sleep. with the same brain. It's always rewiring, it's always moving. So it's so important, man, that we're aware of that, and we're aware of what we're taking in, what we're putting out into the world. We've all got dreams, we've all got goals, and go out and get them, man. Like, they're yours for the taking. And just bring in that good mindset, focus on your mindset and adjust it where you need. And I promise you'll feel happier at the very least.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, when you talk about human beings, right? We all have the first nature to underestimate ourselves. Our first nature is always to underestimate ourselves, because before we do something, we don't know our capabilities, we don't know our strengths, our weaknesses. So the first thing that we go and do in our thoughts is underestimate ourselves and really doubt if we can really do that. So can you tell us, like, why do we always underestimate ourselves? Is there any particular reason that we always underestimate ourselves?
So I don't know if there's one reason in particular, but what I've understood from my own life and some of the people that I speak to, there's a great quote from a film that says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. So it's not a fact of that we won't be able to do certain things. It's more of a fact of, can you actually get yourself up to do those things? That's the difference. It's being able to get up and move and get up and do it. What we as humans, what we can do is amazing. What we achieve can sometimes be disappointing. So the way a lot of what these things come from is about self-belief. It's about self-confidence. It's about like the fear of failure. But anyone that's successful, whether it's financially or career-wise or even marriage-wise, failure is not the opposite to success. It's part of the journey. And that is massive. And I think when a lot of us, we don't want to look silly. And we try not to look silly in front of people, but why not? Like, why not look silly and get closer to your goals while doing it, man? Like, we're not here. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't care what people, I care what people think, but not when it comes, I'm not gonna let them stop me get where I'm trying to get, because then that's affecting my life. Then you're stopping me from getting where I'm trying to go. And I'm not okay with that. And anyone that is out there with a dream that's scared of failure, I'm telling you, the more you fail, well done. Keep going. Get up, keep moving, keep going.
Yes. So failing is not about losing in life. I have dealt with this personally, because every time I failed in life, failed in the sense I was not appreciated on what I was doing. So I always thought this is not my thing. But then I think I was too quick to judge if I was good or not good at it. So we have to give ourselves enough chances to explore and find out if that is really for us, because you never know. You can really get better at it and maybe even the best at it.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, as well, you said something good there. I think a lot of it is about understanding who you are as well. And I think when you have that understanding of who you are and you've got a sort of a good goals in front of you, but they've got to be your goals. Like, some people want the money, some people want the family, some people want other things, and whatever the goal is, as long as it's for you, it's the right one. And when we know that and we get to know ourselves, these things that we're talking about, these underestimating yourself, these limits, they tend to go away anyway, because as people, we don't tend to give ourselves enough credit. We don't tend to believe. I don't hear anyone saying, I'm going to overestimate myself. Like, instead of underestimating, where's the overestimating? Do you know what I mean? Like, I want someone to overestimate them, because that's when we can really start getting that confidence. We can start getting that self-belief, and that's when we can start moving. So that's what I've got to say about that. I hope that helps.
Okay. So coming to this, I just thought of one thing. You know, the kind of parenting we go through in this generation and the kind of parenting we had a decade ago, that is our parents, and, you know, and now the new generation parents, there is a lot of difference in their parenting. So what do you think? Is it like, how should we actually install some good life lessons to our children?
Well, do you know what? I mean, I'm not a dad. I'm not a dad. I will say that now, but I'm doing a lot of studies on the youth, on children, and I think something that was important to me now, looking back into my past, is I think if we get our children to understand who they are and we got our children to understand their strengths, I think that really goes a long way for them, because a lot of the stuff that I done in my life and that I chose in my life really come from not knowing who I was. And I think it's bringing out who they are. So, for example, if your kid's into drawing, then maybe you get them drawing a little bit more, complimenting them more, and getting them focused on the things that they're good at. And that will naturally breed some confidence in them, which they can transfer to other areas. I don't know if anyone's listening right now and got kids, give us a little thumbs up on the comment so we can see like if there's anyone doing that there, because I'm not a dad, so I don't really know if I'm giving the right information there. But for me, looking back, if I understood who I was as a kid, and understood a little bit more about my goals, a little bit about who I am, that really goes far, I think, with their mental health, with understanding that there's going to be peer pressure and understanding that they are who they are. And I think that's important. I think that's very important.
Yeah, yeah. And also something that I've realized very lately is that, appreciation is a very important part in every relationship that you have. The art of appreciating is the best way to keep people bonded. Because,
gratitude is the best attitude.
Yeah, yeah. And, see, even if you have been living with a person for a decade, 2 decades, even then, when the other person knows how you feel about them, sometimes just appreciating them just adds on a whole new flavor and keeps things good. So I have recently learned that, appreciating is magical, because it's contagious. And it's contagious, because
100%.
when I appreciate somebody, they also learn to appreciate the little things that I do. So yeah, I think I just wanted to tell everyone that, learn and start appreciating the people around you. So that's very important. And coming to this, appreciating was something which I never did previously, because I thought, yeah, and now I've started doing it, and now it's a habit. So this habit has actually helped me a lot, in not just in my career, but also in my personal relationships. So I now, just introspected myself, and I thought, habits are actually so important in life. They're so important.
Gratitude's massive, because I think if you don't appreciate the person, then you're not aware. So what are you not doing? Are you focusing on the bad stuff about the person? Are you not? And by giving that appreciation, you're focusing on the goods, and that's really important, because I think the more we focus on the good parts of people, the more beauty we'll find in that person, and the more we'll see the right parts of them that we want to see, rather than saying, oh, you know what, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, and like that's not good. Like, you're gonna get some sort of resentment from that. So the more we focus on the goods, the more we'll find. So that's really important. That's so important that you said that, and I hope that sort of like gives some people out there. Just, I always say, I try to do 3 good things a day about the person that I love. I've got a partner, and when I do a little gratitude session in the morning, I always make sure I'm highlighting the things that I really love about her, because even if you don't always need to say it to them, but it's important to say it to you, so you're focusing on the good part of it, so you don't get lost in the mist of life. We get busy, negative stuff happens, and we need to make sure that doesn't get on top of the true meaning of life, which to me is love, family, freedom. So yeah, I'm glad you said that, to be honest.
And guys, I really want you to take this one habit from George. He does his gratitude every morning. So this is something to think upon. How many times do you think, like, what are the 5 things that I have gratitude towards today? So have a book. I did check out one of his posts where he had a gratitude book, I guess.
Yeah.
And the diary was open, and so you should always write down your what you have gratitude towards every day. So this is something that I take from you, George. I'm going to imbibe.
Thank you. It's funny though, because like we don't check in with these sort of, like, people check their bank balance. They check in with their friends. They check in on Facebook. They check in on Instagram. When do you check in with yourself about how good your life really is? When do you check in about the important people of your life? Like, we don't do that enough, because we're so distracted by the shit going around the world and everything that's going on. And I think it's important just to take a step back and go, do you know what? I'm just going to think about the good things that I've got right now. the good thing, the good people that I've got, the good things you like about yourself. That's very important, to love yourself as well. I found in my life, when I started to love myself, that's when I started to be able to give out more love and receive it as well. So yeah, just check in with yourself now and then. Stop checking in on Facebook and start checking in with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, when I introspected myself, I realized that habits play a really important role. So I want you to explain more about, you know, what is the role of habit in a person's success?
I love
How you
this.
form habits and how
Yeah.
this becomes the main core of your success. So could you please explain that to us?
100%. This is one of my favorite subjects to speak about, because ultimately habits is what really evolves our life and what really keeps us moving. So basically, what a habit is a behavior, and what a behavior is when three things come into action, which is motivation, ability, and prompt. When these three things come together, that's when the habit forms. Now, hopefully we can get some interaction from the people, but if anyone has ever failed at a habit, just give us a little thumbs up or a little wave or something, and I'll keep an eye on it. I'm going to keep talking while that goes on. Now, usually what happens when we form habits is that we go as big as we can, because we're in that moment, we're really motivated to do it, and we really want to make sure that there's value there in what we're doing. However, that's when we're motivated. What about when you get to your day that you're not motivated? What about you get today when it's a little bit harder? What do we do then? So what I try to do is I try to hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello? You still there? I try to eliminate anything that involves motivation. So the way I do that is by making a habit as small as I can. Now, Sanjita, if you've been following me for a while, I've explained this in some of my posts. So I've been going to the dentist my whole life, and for the past 5 years, my dentist has been telling me to floss my teeth, yeah? Now, I found that, for some reason, too hard. I found that too hard to do. It's an easy thing, but I found it too hard. So instead of telling myself, I'm going to floss my teeth, all my teeth every day, I just floss one tooth.
Yeah.
And I've done that consistently, because it's easy to floss one tooth. It's easy to do that. Now, when it's easy to do, so that's your easy bar, your motivation is higher. So if you're able to do it, you will do it. If the habit you want to form is too big, your motivation is going to be here. Your motivation needs to be high, and so does your ability. So the smaller you make it, the easier it's going to become. So for all the people out there that have been trying to get into a gym and can't do it, just get your gym trainers on and just walk around the gym, or walk out the house, then walk back. You don't need to do it all. Just start tiny, start as small as you can. And then from there, you can naturally grow on it. You can naturally grow on it from there. And I promise you, small and consistent is what's going to get you further. And that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progression. So the more we focus on just keeping it consistent and then growing on that, once we're ready, that's when we can really start moving with it.
So consistency is actually the crux of making, good habits.
I'd say making it easy to do. Making it easy to do, and then the consistency will follow with it. If the habit you want to form is too big, it's going to be hard, man, and you're not going to be motivated to do it. You got to think, when you're motivated to do things, it's easy. You got to think about the days where the motivation isn't there, because we all have those days, right? Like, we're not always pumped and motivated all the time. So when you're motivated, that's great. You're going to do it anyway. But when you're not motivated, that's when habits can form as well. So what if you're not motivated for a week or two? You're going to stop doing it? No, because if you stop doing it, then exactly. So you've got to make it small, make it tiny, and then we can keep that consistent, and it will become a habit.
Yes. So the main objective here is not to rely on motivation always to keep things going. It's about having your habits right, because that's how you cannot get motivation every day.
No, our minds aren't built like that. Our minds aren't built like that. Our minds are to keep us alive and for us to survive. They're not built to motivate. I wish they were, but they're not. So we've got to make it tiny, Like, please, everyone, please make it tiny, make it small, and you will be motivated to do it. It doesn't matter how small you make it, as long as it's small, and then you can grow on that as time goes on, and there's no rush. And also, you can't get mad at yourself when you don't do it, because if it's small and you do it anyway, you've done it, so you can't get mad.
Yeah, yeah. So the next thing is, we all at some point in life always struggle to tell no, especially to the people who are higher to us in, ranks, or the person who's older to us, or the person who we have a lot of respect and love for. It's always very hard to tell no. So what do you think about this whole concept, when we all struggle to tell no?
You know what? I think I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but I think saying no comes back to what we were saying earlier about the self, about understanding yourself. And I think also who you're hanging about with that you've got to say no to all the time. Like what I think that's important to discuss as well. But to answer your question about that, I think it's really important to make sure that you understand what you're doing and you understand where you're trying to go. And by understanding yourself and understanding where you're trying to go, the no's will become easier and not make it such a battle. You don't have to make it such a battle. It'll just come naturally. And I hope that answers it. But in my life, I was able to say no to the things that weren't good for me when I really started understanding myself.
Yes. This is very important. I think no can be easier only if you do it the first time. You have to take an initiative to come up front and convey what doesn't comfort you and tell the reason along with your no. So that also makes sure that the other person feels good about it. They don't feel bad that you have hurt them. So I think, what you said makes perfect sense. Yeah. And then the next thing is, for example, I've been living in India. So the way I am today is based on the environment that I have here around me. So it depends, you are from a different ethnicity, I am from a different one. And then the environment affects everyone in a different way. So what do you think? Does our environment actually affect us?
100%. 100%. I think we have such things. So, Gisa, have you ever been around people that make you feel really good?
Sorry?
I said, have you ever been around people that make you feel good?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have.
And have you been around people that make you feel bad?
Oh, yeah.
And there we go. That's why environment affects us, because we are who we survive, who we're around. So when you're around people that are speaking like you, that make you feel good about yourself, that support you, that's giving you an empowerment. You're around people that are matching your same behavior. But if you're around people that they're not like you, they're saying, oh, don't do that, don't do that, don't try and better yourself. You rarely see a really not successful person with an extremely successful person, and that's not because that one person's better or not. It's because they're in two different environments. There's once a saying if you hang around 7 alcoholics, you're about to be the 8th. And I think it's so important to be careful. I mean, I've involved myself in not very nice environments, and it made me feel not very nice. And I quickly became one of them, even though it's not in my nature. When I was hanging around, there's certain attitudes and behaviors that they made acceptable that aren't acceptable out of that environment. Yes. So I think be careful who you hang about with. If you're in an empowering environment, be aware of that, and make your environment aware of that and build on it, because that's very important. However, if you're not in an empowering environment, I'd really look closely into that. I mean, my advice would say cut them off, but that's a bit too much. That's a bit too much to people. I appreciate that. So my advice would be limit yourself to how much you're with them. Really limit yourself to how much you're with them. Yes.
And I think, when I think about, it's a very common saying that if you're among 4 successful people, you will be the 5th one. I think the main reason behind this is because the kind of environment you get around those people, for people, actually normalizes the habits and the things that they do regularly. If you're a stranger and you see them doing something, you might think, they are like, they're successful, so they do. But once you just go on and start experiencing how they live, that kind of normalizes things for you, and that's how you start doing things
That's
despite
it.
that's not in your nature.
That's it. And that's what it is at the end of the day. You start to make things acceptable that aren't acceptable in another environment. So you're allowing yourself to make a habit out of something. Let's go back to habits. You're making a habit out of something that isn't good for you. That's not going to allow you to grow. But by surrounding yourself with the right people, by surrounding yourself with people that are going to make sure that you're growing, make sure that you're doing the right behaviors, that's when we can really start moving closer. That's when we can really start getting close to where we're trying to be, because our environment, I've just seen someone who I spoke to about this in my podcast, Hannah Jones. Hi, Hannah. We spoke about how your environment allows you to grow, to set your goals the right way. Because if you're trying to, let's say, have a diet, you're trying to go on a diet, and everyone in your household is not on a diet, and they got chocolate around the house, they got cakes around the house, it's going to be harder for you to stick to that diet, because we can't rely on motivation. But if we can have an environment where everyone's on a diet, where everyone's trying to move in the same direction as you, then we can get closer. Now, not every environment can be that simple, but if we can just work on making that as much as possible, surrounding yourself in an environment that's going to be good for you, I promise you will thrive off it, and you will succeed, and everyone around you will just feel good, man. It doesn't matter. They can go for different things and they can have different goals, but just around people that are going to support you and going to love you for who you are, that's important, man. So if you don't feel that you got that sort of environment, either cut them out, that's what I would say, or just distance yourself away from them, man, and slowly you'll be able to move away from them and start going on your own route.
Yes. And then coming to something that we face every day. Okay. Now this is something like, you do something, and for example, I'm a writer and I write lots of content every day, every month. And then, the natural thing to happen after that is face feedback. And while I face feedback, I have many types of criticism coming. Some are constructive, very helpful, and they really help me in working on the things that I'm not good at. But some are really demotivating because it's more about insulting the person who has written content. So how do we face both the types of criticism?
I think the important thing is that if you're like someone like yourself, Sanchita, you're a writer, your aim is to get better, and you want to be the best writer, or you want to improve your writing at all points. And I think when getting criticism, it's important to have at the forefront of your mind that what you're looking for is an area that you need to grow in. So look for that, focus on looking for something. But sometimes you're going to hear some bullshit opinion that's not going to have any relevance to you. And that's okay as well, because they could just be reflecting what they're scared of, or what they think that but their opinion isn't always right, and it doesn't have to be right. That's just what they're going to say, and not everyone's right. But it's important for you to take some of the stuff they said and think, right, he said that, he could be right about that. Let me reflect on it, look back, maybe have a discussion with your good environment, with your people and with yourself, and just reflect on it and see if it's good. But I believe criticism is massive in order for us to grow, because we often we want to be easy on ourselves as people. We want to be easy on ourselves. We want to think we're always doing stuff right. We want to think that we never do anything wrong, which is natural. But when you've got the opportunity, or someone willing to give you feedback, I'd take that opportunity with all your might, and just understand what they're trying to say, and then just go from there, man. And just look at it in a positive way, and just see what they're trying to say. And if they're saying bullshit, then that's okay as well, man. Just let them just get off their chest if that's what they feel that need to say. Yeah. But not everyone's right, not everyone's wrong.
Yes. I think it's just about picking the things that you feel are something that you should really work on and move on. Be it constructive, 100%. Or, I think even criticism is a lot of investment a person does on you, because even if they have to criticize you, they'll have to spend
Yeah,
some time analyzing what you're doing. So I
exactly.
think we should really appreciate them even to criticize us.
Exactly. Like it takes a lot. It also does take a lot of like it takes a lot for someone to go, I think you need to do this. I think you need to work on this. So it's important not to just disrespect. And listen, we're all learning. I'm learning. I'm trying to work on that myself as well, man. So we're all learning with that. And also, I think it's important to understand who you're taking that criticism from, because you could be taking criticism from someone that is nothing like you.
Yeah.
And how relevant is what they're saying to your life. But if you're talking to someone, I'll use you as an example, Sanjita, that is a writer, and you got a writer giving you feedback, you're probably going to take that criticism more than someone like me, who is a speaker, talk about your writing, because we're in different industries, we're in different journeys of life. So I think it's important to understand who you're taking that criticism from and feedback from, and how to apply it into your life and how to apply it into your role, basically.
Yes, yes, yes. And the next thing is, we are always in a situation where we blame things. We blame destiny, we blame fate, and if anything bad happens to us, the first thing that we do is, why me? Why me? And we always make it to the point that we don't accept the situation. And I just want to know, when we are in such situations, is happiness really a choice or it's a consequence of a situation?
So I'll go with the first bit of what you said there. So you said when stuff goes wrong, people will blame themselves. Now, what makes me laugh about that is that when everything goes right, they blame
Oh, yeah.
themselves. So they're blaming themselves. So you can't not blame yourself when it goes wrong and then blame yourself when it goes right. It's not how it works. So you got to take accountability when it's going right, and then you can take accountability when it goes wrong. When it goes wrong, you can't be like, that was nothing to do with me. But then when it goes right, you go, oh yeah, that was all me. I done that. I did this. So I think you can't. It's either you don't blame. You feel like, oh, I've got nothing to do with anything in my life. I'm just going to let it go and just hope for the best. Or you go, I'm going to take accountability for my rights, and I'm going to take accountability for my wrongs. That you've got to do both. And by taking accountability is the most important thing I've done in my life, because then you can really start growing, and then you can really start improving yourself. Because at the end of the day, we only have ourselves in our life to really improve ourselves. And if we're not going to take accountability for what we do, then there's no real way that we can grow. Because you can tell me something, Sanjita, and if I don't feel like you're saying the truth and I don't feel like I'll get any control, then I'm gonna ignore it. So by taking accountability, you can then take accountability for the good things and the bad things. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with shit going on in your life. There's nothing wrong with stuff going wrong in your life, man. It's natural. It's healthy. We need that variety. There's no happiness without sadness. There's no joy without pain. There's no rain without sun. Do you know what I mean? So it's important just to take the variety of life, live it, enjoy the process, and take accountability. That's what I'd say. And in regards, say that again.
Take accountability.
Yeah. Just take it, man. Just take the accountability. Like there's no, we create our own destiny. We created the choices that I made 10 years ago. The reasons why I'm living today, and the choices I'm taking today will be the reason what I'm living in 10 years time from now, in tomorrow, in the day after that. So take accountability, man, and your life will always be growing. I'm a man of God. I trust my process. I believe, I have faith, and God is guiding me, and I'm using his guidance to improve and get closer to where I'm trying to be. And in regards to what you said a moment ago about is happiness a choice? Now, yes. I had this discussion this morning, actually. So it's funny you mentioned it. And is happiness a choice or not? I don't think I've got the qualifications to answer that exactly. But what I have got is that we have got choices in our life. So she's actually here. I was speaking to Abby the other day. Hi, Abby. Thanks for coming. And she's got some shit going on in her life right now. She's got some stuff going on in her life, but she's not letting that stop her. She's just released a book. She's using that pain and channeling that pain to grow. And by making that choice in your life, you're choosing happiness, because you're doing stuff that makes you happy. Because we can sit in self-pity. We can sit in a dark room. We can sit there and cry about stuff all day. But is that going to make you feel better? Is that going to? No, probably not. But is getting up, fighting through the pain, and going after what you want, regardless of how you're feeling, that's what's going to make you feel. And that's what we said right at the beginning of the conversation. That's what's going to be able to. That's when you look back in 10 years' time. How did I get through that? Like you're going to be so proud of yourself, so happy with yourself. You just got to keep fighting. There's days I wake up and I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to 6:15 in the morning every single day, regardless of Saturday or Sunday. It drives my girlfriend insane, but for me, that makes me happy, man. Like that makes me that discipline. That makes me happy. So I keep fighting through it. The days that I don't want to do it, I still do it because I know how that makes me feel after I've done it. So there's going to be days that you don't feel. There's going to be situations that go on in your life that you're going to feel bad, or you're going to feel not as good as you felt the day before. That's okay. Accept it, identify it, and then fight back,
Yes. And coming to this, I think, can intelligent people never be dumb, or can dumb people never be intelligent? Like, what is this cycle? What is the cycle behind, being intelligent and dumb?
So, you know what? In school, I always struggled. I was intelligence-wise. I was never the most intelligent, and even now in my latter life, I'm still not the most intelligent. But one thing I have got is I've got lots of fight. I've got lots of will. So yes. By my will makes up for my intelligence. I've got a phenomenal will and average skill. So my fight makes me smart. The reason my motivation makes me smart. And for people out there the other way around that are really intelligent but making silly decisions like that's a bit crazy, because what you're having is you've got a great mind, but your attitude is down here. So it's got to be balanced out. You've got to have as much intelligence as you've got fight, as you've got attitude, and keep it moving and keep going forward. It's not going to happen by itself. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care if your family is rich or whatever. Like this life is only going to happen because of you and you only. So that's what I'd say. That's what I'd say about that.
Yes. And then coming to, you told me about your, the dark phase of life, which you had overcome very bravely. So yeah. I just want to know, where does all, we all have different kinds of past, and there are people who have drug usage, alcohol, and they get so messed up in that it's really hard to get back. So I just want to know where all this comes from. What is the starting point of all this? Where does it begin?
Well, I've been through some of what you just said there. I've battled addictions for the best part of 10 years. I'm now completely clean. Feel better than ever. I feel amazing. So what I would say from my experience of going through addictions and going through some drug use, some alcohol use and things like that, I lost myself. I lost who I was. I lost what made me happy. And because of that, I needed a high. Do you know what I mean? I needed that high of life. It's actually a chemical in your brain called dopamine. And some of like the alcohol, like that increases dopamine very highly. So when you drink alcohol, or when you smoke, or when you do cocaine or something, you go on a massive, massive high. And then after, you feel like shit. You feel worse than you did. When I started to understand what makes me happy, like I work out every single day of the week, because that makes me happy. So I think by understanding what makes you happy, and again, finding stuff that makes you happy is the answer. And I think anyone that is picked up an addiction, first of all, I'd say reach out. I'm happy to talk to people. Reach out to your parents, reach out to your family. voice it, just speak it. Like, don't just bottle it up and leave it, man. Like, reach out to someone. Like, people care, people want to help you, but people won't help you unless you help yourself. And then the second stage from there is start understanding who you are and start understanding where you want to be. We love you, God loves you, your parents love you. You got people that really care, man. And don't give up on yourself. Like, there's always anyone that's going through any addiction, any mental health, like there's ways out, and your story needs to be told, because there's people out there that rely on your story to get them through, man. So you're so important. Your life is so important. Getting over addiction is so important, man. And I wish you all the best. And I'm here if anyone needs to chat. But if you're not addiction and you know someone that's got an addiction, let them know that. Let them know that their life matters. Let them know that there's a way out. I'm a living example. If I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think, if anyone here right now is going through any kind of problems, or, if you just need that one source of support to just overcome this phase, I think you should really go to George, because he is a fantastic source. He knows, he has been through it, and he exactly knows what should be done. So I think you should really go to George. And then the next thing is, it is not possible to help anyone unless they want to help themselves. So this point that you said makes so much sense. So much sense, because
Yeah.
I have friends, who were very low, and, they were in all kinds of trouble, and that really makes, when you can't get your shit right, it's the worst phase of your life. But then, one day you can sit with them, 2 days you can sit with them, but if it keeps going for a month, and if they don't want to help themselves, I think, no external factor can really help them. It's
No.
just their decision to move forward and to get better at it. Yes.
Be honest. Being honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself as well. It is the hardest thing to do. And people, like I always say, the easiest way to explain this is, if someone has a money problem and never has any money, giving them £100,000 or £1 million, it doesn't help them, because money doesn't solve money problems. And because unless they know what to do with the money, that's the problem. The fact that they don't know what to do. And it's the same with other things. If you don't know what to do, you don't know directions that you want to take in your life, then how are you gonna help yourself? If you're trying to get over addiction, but you're doing that thing that you're addicted to every day, that you're not helping yourself. You've got to push yourself out of the comfort zone. You've got to be honest with yourself. And it's so important that don't expect help when you're not helping yourself. That's not fair. That's not fair on the people around you. So
Yeah.
the best thing that if you really want to do something, really want to help yourself, then get honest with yourself, man. Get honest with yourself, speak to the people around you, and then ask for help. Then expect help. But don't expect help when you're not doing nothing to better yourself, when you're not doing nothing to not even better yourself, when you're not even doing anything to help yourself. Don't expect other people to help you when you're not helping yourself. That's what I'd say about that. And I've lived that. I've lived that life. Like, I was kicked out of school, I was kicked out of college, and I wanted help. I expected people around me to help me. I thought, well, why aren't you doing it? In my head, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't they doing this? But why are they going to do that when I'm not even doing that for myself? They're never going to do it.
Also, when we are in these kind of situations, overthinking is almost a byproduct of it. So, overthinking really kills, because I was a person who used to overthink even when a person doesn't message me back. This was like years back. But then now I'm totally, I think that's just a phase, where you just you start panicking when, that anxiety you feel when the person is online and they don't reply.
Yeah.
This is something that everyone can relate to.
I still overthink. I still overthink now. But what I do is I interrupt it. So any of my overthinkers out there, you've got an amazing mind. You've got an amazing mind, because we're very creative. We get very creative with the overthinking.
Yes.
But when you go round and round in circles, you're starting to damage yourself, and you're really doing some damage, and you're bringing your more emotions in. So one thing that I do, I try to do this as many times a day as I can. I try to be aware of my thoughts, and I literally say, "Where are you right now, George? What are you thinking about right now?" And then if I find myself overthinking, I interrupt it. I go, "Right, stop thinking about this and start thinking about now. Like, come back to the right now. Start thinking about your breathing. Start thinking about moving. Just come back to right this moment, right now." And that's what I'd say about that. But overthinking, all my overthinkers out there, you've got an amazing mind. Use it to do greatness. Like, overthinking isn't gonna do shit about shit. So you really gotta just interrupt it, think back to the present moment that you're in, and then start making your moves.
Yes, yes, you are so right about this, because distracting yourself while you overthink is only the best solution you can give yourself.
Yeah.
Like a good distraction, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't start smoking something or drinking something. You know what I mean? Like you've got to like do it right and distract yourself right. Like I go back to breathing. I just take in some deep breaths, or I go for a walk, listen to some music. Like, just do something you enjoy. Distract it with something you enjoy, man. Don't go to the stuff. Anyone that doesn't meditate, I love meditation. Really love meditation. So, yeah, anyone that doesn't, try it, man. Just try it. Don't just try it once. Put it out there for a week or so. Just do it, man. It's great. It's great.
Yes, yes, yes. I have actually been meditating for a month now, and
Yeah,
I can tell
same.
you there has been so many internal changes. So
Yeah,
it just makes me more, calm, letting me have more patience in, a situation where everyone's screaming around. So I think, this is something, this is very minor changes, but then they really make your life much better. So I
100%.
think, yeah. And I think you all should just give it a try. Try it meditating for, just 20 minutes a day.
Not even that. That's long. I can't even meditate for 20 minutes. Even if you got to do, remember, tiny habits. 2 minutes, then 3 minutes, then 4 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 6 minutes. Build it up slowly, man. But give it a try. On YouTube, just type in 5-minute meditation. That's how I started. 5-minute meditation.
Okay.
I'm now on 10 minutes at the moment, and then I'll build it up slowly. But just give it a try, man. I've had some beautiful moments while meditating. Beautiful moments.
Okay. Okay. So this is something that I'm going to do. I'm going to go. And also, playing good surreal music while you meditate actually takes you to the height of meditation. So I
Yeah.
think I'm going to go and try this out tomorrow morning. I wake up
Yeah,
by 4, by the way. So yeah, so 4 to 4:10, I'm going to do what you said. And yeah, I really had a lot of fun talking with you, George. I
Thank you.
think this was one of my best decisions of going live with you, collaborating with you, because
Thank you.
these things, we all have heard in theory. We have all heard about, not maybe everything that you said, just bits and pieces we have heard around. But the main important thing is realizing what you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, I think you did a wonderful job of
Thank you.
putting up so much awareness. And I really want to look up for so many more collaborations with you. And you're
Thank
not
you.
going to say no, you're going to say yes.
Yeah, I will. I will say yes. I will say yes. I will. Don't worry.
Awesome,
100%. I've
awesome, George.
enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, George. Had a good time with you. And guys, stay safe, stay at home, and do wear your masks and take sanitizers while you go move out. So yeah, that's for today. Thank you, George. Thank you so much.
No worries. God bless. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.